Well, welcome to the podcast. Today is actually a special episode. We are not in my office and home. If you're watching on YouTube, you could definitely tell this is a different room that we're in right now. Well, we are actually here at the DAR Memorial Continental Hall, and I'm actually here with Amanda. We're going to do a little introduction, but we just really wanted to have her on to thank her for having us here. I'm hosting the podcast this time. So, Amanda, do you want to share a little bit about the venue and just who you are with the venue?
Of course. Thank you. My pleasure to have you all here. Hello. My name's Amanda. I'm the Director of Events and Meetings for the Daughters of the American Revolution, also known as DAR. We're a historic museum. We're actually a nonprofit. We're not federally owned, even though our neighbors are the White House. Basically, yeah.
That's awesome.
They're pretty decent neighbors, I have to say. They haven't complained about the noise yet. So basically how my role is, we rent these beautiful historic spaces for weddings. We also can do corporate receptions, and we're actually designed to look like the White House. So we've done many a film shoot. There is a really awesome photo of Gal Gadot and Chris Pine sitting in our foyer space, just being beautiful together.
Oh my gosh.
Pretty great. But yes, it's beautiful spaces for events. We happy to do we can go up to about 200, but we're really great fit for like weddings. And weddings just really thrive here at that. We're kind of a classic space. You know, you got the columns that were such a great fit for anyone who wants to do some customization because you get this nice, neutral, classic space, but you can really still add your own pizzazz to your wedding, as one should.
Yeah, well, and just like the architecture, the history, I don't know if you want to share just a little bit about the history of the venue itself, too.
Yeah, of course. So Daughters of the American Revolution was actually founded in 1890. It is a membership organization for women who are literally descendants of those who fought or served in the American Revolution. And of course, like all things have started, the women wanted to join the Sons of the American Revolution, and they said, no girls allowed. So they said, fine, we'll make our own clubhouse. And it's now bigger and better than theirs. I'm sure they're fine. But we do have the great, someone in 1890 had amazing had amazing real estate acumen in 1890. So we have a great proximity, obviously, to the White House. So that's how the organization started. And from there it grew, and we now have a concert hall, that's Constitution Hall, that seats 3,600. And this is actually our headquarters where all our members come in for their Congress they do every year. So the Congress is actually modeled after the original Congress in 1776. Check your history books, remember those tests. So during that time, our members come in celebrating their acts of patriotism and volunteer and each other and basically flood the building. And we're always thrilled to have them back. And in between all our wonderful other events, we're always wonderful to host.
Yeah, well, just being here, this is our first time here actually, and just seeing everything in person, it is absolutely stunning. And like you were saying, I can picture really any type of color scheme or floral, like any design can fit this venue. And I love how I could just picture personalizing everything. It's just amazing.
Yeah, but my job's easy. It's an easy sell.
Yeah.
I mean, my job's very hard, but no.
I was saying, as a wedding vendor, we all know how hard we work.
No, but it's an easy sell. It's so great. Really, it's more versatile than you think. I've seen some really excellent modern touches. Like we once had an event with this whole peacock scheme and really popped.
I love a good jewel tone wedding too. So tell me, what is a perk of this venue? Like when couples are looking, I know DC has so much and rich history, architecture everywhere. What is a perk of getting married here? And just what is something that's just really unique,
Of course. So have you heard of something called the Washington Monument?
Maybe.
Yeah, we have a fabulous view of that. I can't emphasize it enough. I mean, if you want wow factor to your wedding, if you want your guests to say, hey, I guess you're getting married in D.C., and not only do you get this very iconic D.C.-looking space with the columns, but we have this beautiful portico space, and your ceremony is pop right there at Washington Monument, cutting through the trees, very breathtaking. Yeah. I mean, you cannot get a bad photo. I mean, yes, you married the love of your life, but the photos... The photos are pretty phenomenal right there. But it's also just really special. You get this view, your guests, because with DC, you'd think a lot of our guests think about, the mall. There's other White House obviously, but there's other more visual places that people would assume first. And we really consider us a historic gem. that
Yeah.
you still get the benefits of this historic space in terms of looks, and then you get to have this view, and your guests get an experience they would have never found otherwise.
Yeah. Well, and just like my mini tour you gave me before we started this, like walking through the library and just this reception space, the dance floor slash ceremony, like all of it is so private. And I feel like a lot of the weddings I've seen in DC and friends that shoot here all the time, the kicker is that's hard for photography is people. Like the tourists are always here, but this is so private, and like I feel like the view is not interrupted at all.
No,
It's amazing.
It would take something very large to interrupt it, which is
Yeah.
great. No, actually, the dance floor reminds me, one of my favorite parts of events is the dance at the end of the night, because our guests do dance outside on the covered port of the portico. It's like a mini rotunda, and the DJs put all the uplighting around the columns, and it's this juxtaposition of modern and historical as they're rocking out to Mr. Brightside.
Yeah.
And then,
Classic.
oh man, that's like my favorite game. Is are they going to do? When are they going to do it? So we'll see for 2024. But the punchline being is you get to still bring modern day and around this historic building, and it's just really cool, like dancing around the columns.
Yeah.
It's one of my favorite moments to see everyone at the end just embracing the space.
Oh, I love that. Well, tell me, just as people are inquiring for here, like, what are some questions you wish they would ask you in the inquiry process, maybe even on a tour, or maybe even dive into they've booked? What are some things you wish they would ask you?
Oh, that's always a good question, because we really try and be diligent on our FAQs to preempt everyone. I guess it's more, I think honestly for us, because we've done such a really strong due diligence on our website, which has now been up to date, everybody, is check the website first. Like, we really want you to come in educated before you even email us, see if we're a fit. That's okay. Like, I'm not offended if you don't show up, or even after you come do a tour. It's really like, don't be a square peg in a round hole. That's like my best advice. Like, if you, especially for us, like, check our capacities. You really can't go over 140, 150, 160. It gets a little complicated. You're bringing tents. Like, if you're wanting that big, grandiose wedding, alas, we may not be the best fit for you. Unless you want to do your ceremony here and something outside. Again, it becomes more complicated logistically and budgetarily. So I'd say my first wish is, before you even come in, is just double check the website, knock out. We're always happy to answer any questions in advance in the email stage, because when you show up, you want to be like, you are still kind of shaping your wedding, but you still want to come with a pretty solid definition of what you do and do not want, at least like maybe your top 3. And also, what are you comfortable with? Like, we require a planner, which I know we'll talk about more, but and we have a required catering list. Are you okay with those limitations? And we're a historic space, so no red wine. I know. It's like, and rosé. It pains me. It pains me so much that we can't do rosé on the portico. It's destined for rosé, but alas, we have 100-year-old marble, and marble absorbs all stains. That's your fun fact for today. So it's just like, and if you're looking at other historic spaces, they're going to be about the same. So you're kind of going in for a type. So it's really kind of knowing the core things that are important to your wedding. And then, if that all matches, please come in, and then we can go deeper into how it all works together. But like, advance, you want to tour venues that are as close to what you want as possible. Like, you don't want to waste time.
Right. Well, and if you're a decent human being, you should respect the property and, want to preserve the history behind everything as well. So, yeah, I definitely agree with that. Well, and actually, you kind of spoke on it. My next question is, you require planners, and I know you mentioned catering. Why do you require these venues, and do you have venues? Why do you require these vendors? There we go, I can't talk. And do you have like a recommended list that you go off of?
Yeah. So yes, we do. We do have required caterers, and the number one reason for that is because we're a historic building. These vendors, these caterers, really know our spaces intimately. They've been here for years. They know the do's and don'ts, especially as you become creative. Like, I can't encourage enough creativity with your wedding planning. And like, that's my number one recommendation to any vendors you start talking to is first of all, be honest about your budget. And
Yes.
second of all, yes, oh my gosh. And second of all, you know, it's vibe check to use some slang. It's like, did they listen to you? Or they want to be inspired by you? So a caterer, if you, like, I'm from California, and for my own wedding, I was like, I want a quesadilla bar. Southern California represent. And, you know, if a caterer is like, yes, I'm all in, here's my ideas, like, you want them to respond to you. Additionally, when it comes to DAR, they are also going to respond to you, but also know, okay, like I had one wedding that was a very pink wedding, and they wanted strawberry margaritas. And I'm like, I'm so sorry, pink dye, I cannot. But the important wasn't so much the strawberry flavor, it was the pink color. So the caterer came up with putting a dash of Aperol into the margaritas to still make it look pink, even though it wasn't like a strawberry flavor. It still gave the pink color the bride wanted. And I did test that margarita, and I can attest it tasted like a margarita. You could not taste the Aperol at all. It was a kind service I did, mostly out of curiosity. But that's why a great caterer has a great venue relationship is going to keep an eye out for you and still find the compromise regardless. And with planners, we are a unique venue where we are just the space. We do not provide any equipment, AV. Really think of us as a fancy campsite. You're bringing everything in and you're bringing everything out, which is wonderful for customization. Like, really, if you want a hot pink bar, have a hot pink bar.
Yeah.
If you want feathered chairs, which that'd be cool. But I don't know if that exists, but it'd be cool. If you want to go that direction, you really can, because you're not relying or have any restrictions on our items with that, like you might at a hotel. But the flip side to that is it requires more coordination, and that's where a planner really comes in. And honestly, with planners, they're a gift to yourself and your parents as part of the day. The planner, and I can speak from personal experience as well as professional experience. Like, you are going to be so maxed out closer to your wedding that, and I'm not, I'm type A for a living, so I can really speak to this, that you want to start offloading this stuff at least 3 months out. You want to start handing, like, I should not be talking to you 3 months from your wedding. I know I'm wonderful, but we should stop talking. Like, I should be talking to your planner. I should be talking to someone else, so you can get all those, like, you can start putting stickers on escort cards. You can do all those other tiny details that, who's picking up grandma from the airport, like all this other stuff that needs to happen. Like, start letting your vendors be your superstar team. And then the other part of that, why it's a gift to your family, is like the whole point of the day of your wedding is you should wake up with like amnesia that, oh my gosh, it's a wedding? Like, because you've handed everything off. Like, and from my personal experience, my mom, for both my wedding and my brother's wedding, who just got married in May last year, she woke up with mom worries, not wedding worries. Like, she got to just be a mom, not be like, oh, I have to like grab all these things. So that's also part two. It's like, if you don't, like, you have people that want to help you, but they shouldn't be helping you with like the major pieces of your wedding day. They can take the alcohol home. That's an easy job for anybody. If you trust them, but Or I had the honor at my brother's wedding to drive all the succulents back to the hotel, but I'm wonderful. But like, that's kind of the jobs family should be doing, not coordinating your wedding, not arranging the flowers. So that's, again, the advantage of a fabulous vendor team, and especially fabulous planners.
Yeah. Well, and again, I feel like planners they have like a design eye. Like, I'm a photographer, and I'm like, I can't even do this. I can take pretty pictures of the beauty, but like putting it together, just having the ability to take this space, and it's like an empty canvas, and they could just pour your personality into the space.
And they love this stuff. Like, I like it. They love it. And they've seen more weddings in different venues and types of brides. So they're going to have a billion more ideas. Like, I would consider myself, when I've done planning, I'm more of a logistics queen. But design, I mean, that's a real skill set. I'm like, flowers. But like that, having someone on your team that is like 100% excited to pick all the things with you, or even if they're not doing the design portion of your wedding, at least like ensuring the design elements still are cohesive together, is such a great value add.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, and I guess to finish up like this whole topic that we're discussing, what are some other recommendations you would make for couples looking to get married here, or maybe they already have their wedding scheduled? Like, what, speaking to them, what else would you recommend?
Oh, of course, sure. So I'd say for couples, again, bring your creativity, bring your imagination. Like, there's so many options out there. You don't have to do white flowers. They look great, but I just want to encourage couples, even when they come here, to not get overwhelmed by any space they're in, not just DAR, to not, you can really bring your own vision. It's your wedding. And the other side of that coin is I recommend thinking about your guest experience too. It's your wedding, but people still want to have fun. If you're going to make them wait, make sure there's a bar. Like, there's stuff, little tips like that. It's like, think about the weddings you've gone to. And all of this can really be accomplished in most venues. Like, I can speak for ours. Like, you just tell what you want and we'll figure it out. Like, don't be afraid to kind of ask. Like, don't be afraid to shoot for the moon is the punchline.
Right.
Your vendors, your venue will all bring you back down as needed.
Yeah.
Or your budget too, to be frank. But at the same time, we all are excited for you. So really, like, rely on your vendors for sure. Rely on your vendors. Like, we're all supposed to be a resource. We just want you to have such a great day. And on the flip side to that great day, it is about fit. So I go back to my don't be a square peg in a round hole. Unfortunately, DAR would not be the best fit for the DIY bride. If you're a more craftier person, it's just, that requires a lot of labor, which I appreciate. My hairdresser, when she got married, made like 5 different things, and that's against who I am as a person, but I have no craft interest. But it's like, that's fabulous if you have the time, if not just the time, the skill set, but it's also a venue fit, because not every venue is going to be able to accommodate you coming in a day before, dropping all this stuff out, having a full day load in, or even earlier in that day. Like, we just do too many other events to be able to be that flexible with not only storage or space. So that's just something to think about too, is who are you as a bride?
Yeah.
It's a cost saver. Some people are just passionate about crafts. Again, I commend them. I'm anti-craft.
I could never do it.
No patience. Gave me a lanyard in summer camp, threw it away.
Yeah.
I digress. But like, the point being, there is also like, and she ended up using my hairdresser, she got married at a gallery. That was perfect, like a really funky gallery. They were cool with all that. So that's also something to look ahead is, again, going back to your priorities as a bride, if any of that is a priority to you, again, check with your venue. Yeah. And that also goes to fit as well. So, but we all just want you to have a beautiful day. Rain or shine. Also that's my other one. Oh, yeah, that's a great one too, is always love your backup plan. You gotta love your rain plan.
I was actually going to talk about that in a second. Photography-wise, I'm
like,
this is a great venue for, again, no one wants rain on their wedding day.
No.
But it happens. So you have to have a good backup. And even the space inside, like the library, again, we did the mini tour, really any space. This is perfect for a rain plan.
I have to say that, again, makes my job easy. But yes, we have a fabulous library, move everything inside. Tents work outside too, but tents are a kind of a funky thing for any wedding planner or weddings in general, because like, as a planner, I've definitely tried to hedge my bet if I need a tent or not. But the tents are on to us, everybody. They start making you pay more deposits in advance. You can't just cancel penalty free. But even with a tent, if a tent is your backup plan, anything in the rain plan, you just have to think of it as like sunk cost. That you are paying a tent for the insurance, essentially, for having peace of mind, regardless of weather. Same with like heat lamps, and same with like your interior backup plan. If you are not a fan of our library, and I've had some people that, it's a lot of books, if you're maybe not a reader, it doesn't connect with you, then I would consider another space, or again, be comfortable with being completely outside. So just, you gotta love your backup plan. And you also got to be content, and same with not just backup plan, your time of year. Like, I call spring schizophrenic spring, because it is more variable. And that's, again, I used to do galas in the spring, and that would drive me nuts. We'd always play the outdoor game. But, again, you have to be comfortable with it. You have to just accept your season, accept those kind of limitations. Like, I had a girlfriend who got married and she did all inside because she didn't want to deal with it. And that's fine. And that's all okay. Those are all okay choices. At the end of the day, it's what you want to be happy with. And I want you to be happy as well.
Well, and think gearing more towards photography, what is something that photographers like they want to come back? What is a way for you as a venue that we could serve you better, just either with galleries or like headshots later on? Like, how can we serve you to kind of build rapport?
Tag me. Like tag us on
Oh,
Instagram. I mean, we love doing stories. We love resharing stories, different shots. I was actually just talking to a photographer because I definitely wouldn't consider myself to have that eye. And she was really explaining to me that there is really such a diverse array of photography types. So we want to make sure, like, I want the photographer to also connect with the right couple, that they are a right match artistically, style-wise. So being able to showcase a range of photographers and
yeah.
types would be great. Also, show me your rainy day photos, going back to weather. Show me those photos of the really, not great days. But that, because that's number one, what the couple, probably number two, like a close one or two of why they're freaking out is, about the shots. I really wanted to be outside. We had one wedding. It was a tropical storm in September, randomly. And this photographer and planner, there was like literally a break in the clouds, and they threw the couple outside under the rotunda for like 2 seconds and got these phenomenal shots.
Oh, yeah.
So like a great photographer is going to have your back. So not everyone, but it's easy to take a photo on a beautiful day, or easier,
Correct.
to be fair,
Yes.
to your profession.
No, it is.
But on a less ideal day, those are the shots I want to see for the bride, and hear the story. Like, we love hearing the story of like how they made it happen. I think the couples really want to, like, again, feel like the photographer has their back.
Yeah.
And feel free to mix it up. I know for us, in terms of shot lists, like same goes for vendors, any creative ideas. Like, we have certain shots that kind of are my flywheel, that there's a shot of the Washington Monument, and that inspires a bride to then get married here. And then she
Right.
recreates the shot with her photographer. And
Right.
then that inspires the next bride. That's great. But feel free to like go off the highlight reel with DAR. We have fabulous outside space, or any venue. Like, we have fabulous outside spaces as well, and not all of them are utilized, like with these great gardens. We also have a chapel inside that could be used. It's really small. Don't get married there, but like you can, it's very tiny. If you're eloping for 10 people, go nuts. But otherwise, like, you can bring your ideas of what how the couple inspires you and what their priorities are, to kind of go beyond the highlight reel of the space.
Yeah. Well, and like as a photographer, like especially at venues like this where there's historical maybe restrictions behind. Maybe I know at least for us, we're like, don't break anything, be respectful. Like, if there's a lineup, don't go past it, or just like maybe is communicating with you ahead of time. Like, hey, my couple's looking to get pictures in the library. Is there any off limits, locations? I know we talked about the stairs. Don't go like on the spiral staircase, that kind of thing.
Oh yeah. We have what I affectionately call the death staircase in the library. It's just very tight spiral. I have nightmares of a poofy dress tripping down on it.
That would be a lot.
Yeah, not the pictures we want. So for DAR, we actually have very few photo restrictions. I think it's really the death staircase, is it, in certain parts of the library. But yeah, that's always, more communication is better. Send us the shot list. What we care about for photography is you getting access to all those photos, that you are able, especially we have this incredible balcony shot of the Washington Monument that's popular for sunset photos.
Yes.
And
oh my
that
gosh.
room is locked. So I want to unlock it for you.
Yeah.
And again, we're also a museum. So there's just like certain areas we have to be more cognizant of. But otherwise, like, I don't want to say no. I want to make sure you get all those photos happen.
Yeah.
But to do that, I just need to know in advance to make it happen. So it's really just communicating in advance what those shots are. But otherwise, if you want a portrait with Mrs. O'Byrne of the O'Byrne Gallery, you may have that picture with her.
That's amazing. Well, so last question for photographers specifically. Let's say and this is like a thing for DC, like you have to have permits to shoot here a lot in a lot of places. If I want to come here for, let's say, engagement session, bridal portraits, or even just to come do a tour before, is there a way that's less annoying? Like, I want you to know that I am like got my head on straight, and like I'm a decent person. I just want to make sure, like, I guess, a way that I can connect with you that you're not going to ignore me. To be blunt.
Fortunately for you, we have a fabulous photography policy that is not annoying for me.
I love it.
So yeah, we basically have just finally formalized a previous rule where we actually give photographers a free hour on the exterior of the property. Now it is during select times, and because we basically to avoid other events, so no weekend shoots. But we know obviously sunset, sunrise are really popular, especially sunrise, are really popular times. So we do allow, like, if you want to do a free hour at 7 a.m. on a Wednesday, like, we're happy to book you. Now we do always want to book because we want to just do one shoot at a time. You don't have to fight for space. I don't need to come at 9 o'clock and see like a photography brawl happening.
Yeah.
So
or like a whole row of mini session, like families out here lined up. Yeah.
I would like, no, thank you.
Yeah.
So, and I don't want to throw the families off the portico. So I don't want to be mean. So that's why we have a very easy process. So you can email us directly at events@dar.org. Or you can go through our website. We have a great link that says photography and filming, which goes through all the procedures of how to book, what the rules are, and you can also complete a form that way. And again, all we care about is just let us know, book the date. We'll, 2 weeks out is ideal. You can roll the dice the day before, but most likely 2 weeks out. And again, if cancellation happens due to weather or issues with your subject, then happy to reschedule. All we really ask is just to be communicated with. Now, if you want to do a thing inside, it does have a fee. But again, the bottom line is just ask. Because if you don't ask, I will have to ask you to leave, unfortunately, because we just have other events and we are a public space. So I don't want to be that guy. I have been that guy, but I don't want to be that guy. So that's all I ask for. And also free marketing. That's why I'm in favor of it too, for you to take photos. So feel free, if you're comfortable with your subject, anytime you do a photo at DAR, you are more than welcome to tag us, and I'm more than happy to reshare.
That's awesome. Well, as a photographer, like, again, not many vendors specifically or venues will even let you come on for free. So just that alone is phenomenal.
Oh, my pleasure. Like, again, you guys make us look great. I mean, you are my marketing. So when everyone sees the photos, we're at a great relationship. So again, happy to give you guys that option. Again, you never know who that's going to inspire. So I rather just be as open and accessible as we can.
That's awesome. Well, thank you so much for just the time, for having us here. This is such a beautiful space to come do the interviews today, and we'll have Lee from All the Dainty Details on next. But I'm just so grateful for you and to have us here. So thank you again. And I'll link all the information in the show notes so they can contact you guys through your website and the email you listed. So we'll make sure you guys have all the communication. But thanks for watching, and we'll be back in another episode.